More news about Israel came out. Of course, if you listen to Liberal Dan Radio, you would have saw me guessing that because Israel has such a good intelligence force, that I predicted that it was highly unlikely that they wouldn't know about any impending attack that was coming towards them, and that I predicted that it was more likely than not that they would have known, and that it would benefit Benjamin Netanyahu to allow an attack to happen, and so that he could respond to that attack and use it to his political advantage. Now, I don't know if he would have known how bad or big the attack would have been, but to me, because of Benjamin Netanyahu's legal troubles that he's facing and how he's embattled, so to speak, to me it was like a no-brainer that facing the political troubles that he is, and knowing the type of person that Benjamin Netanyahu is, and basically being the Israeli version of Trump, that it would behoove him to allow a Hamas attack to happen and then react to it. Because preventing an attack, normally an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, but in this case, the ounce of prevention wouldn't have made much news. Being able to pound on the Gazans over and over and over again in retribution for whatever attack that the Hamas terrorist people were going to do against the Israelis would then give him cover to distract from any of his bad actions. And as it turns out, Israeli intelligence did, for a year, know about what was coming. I think they even called it Operation Jericho. And it's disgusting that it was known, that they knew about it for a year, and they just didn't do anything to prevent it. They allowed it to happen. And Netanyahu now gets to do his reaction, his retribution. He now gets what he wanted, which is to conduct his war against Gaza and commit his acts of brutality and be as Trumpy as he wants to be. Yet, we here in America want to just sit back and let our Trump be reelected because we don't want to see the difference between the two. We don't want to see the difference between Biden and Trump. We have leftists in this country who are going to be criticizing Biden, even though Biden and his administration was responsible for negotiating a long-term or a longer-term ceasefire than was expected. Everyone expected just, little pauses, and we got, at least a week to be able to get hostages freed, to be able to get some people out. And they're still working on trying to negotiate some sort of peace. But do you think Donald Trump would be wanting to negotiate peace? No, Donald Trump would be endorsing Netanyahu just bombing the crap out of Gaza. Absolutely 100%. If you think that Donald Trump is going to be better for the people in Palestine, if you think Donald Trump would be better for the Gazans, you're ridiculously crazy. But at the end of the day, what I said is that Netanyahu was better off if he knew about it and then didn't react than if he would have prevented it. And it seems as if the Netanyahu administration didn't do anything about something that they knew that was coming. And that's morally reprehensible on their part, because in doing so, not only is he now responsible for any unnecessary deaths that are taking place on the side of the Gazans because of any indiscriminate bombing or any excessive force that he's using against Gazans to go after Hamas. Look, because again, they have every right to go after Hamas, because that doesn't excuse Hamas's actions. But, excessive force is still wrong, even when force is justified, in any case. But if he could have prevented it, if they could have prevented it from happening in the first place, that means that there is some culpability and responsibility on his part from not doing what he could have done to stop it from happening in the first place. i.e., some of the deaths of those Israelis are on his hands as well. And I don't, and he might not be, you might not be able to draw a line from, you know, the people who are below him. Maybe there's no paper trail that connects him directly, but the buck stops there. If he's responsible ultimately for the government, buck stops there. He controls the government. You have to know that he was in charge and they were following his directives, his orders, etc. They might give him plausible deniability at the end of the day, but he is responsible, and he's ultimately is going to have to take the fall for this. And if not, then that is also another travesty that's going to take place. He needs to take the fall for this. He needs to take full responsibility for everything that has happened, especially now that we're seeing that, again, they knew and they let it happen. Israelis unnecessarily died because of his failure in leadership. Gazans have unnecessarily died because of his failures in leadership. He is just a failure in leadership and needs to go.